Hi, Anthony here. I'm here to share this beautiful chai tea tradition. This particular ritual, this tradition comes from a fellow by the name of Prakash. He's a Punjabi chef. And my good friend Ben was in India studying and doing some research, and he learned this style of preparation, this ritual from Prakash. And then after coming back to the States, Ben practiced basically every day for 4 years making this tea, and Ben showed me how to do that, and I'll show you what I do. So I start, and you see the ingredients are pretty basic. We just have ginger, cardamom, these are green cardamom pods, and just a little bit of cinnamon. These are roughly the ratios that you want. When I make a large batch, I typically use 4 cups of water, 8 cups of water to 7 cups of milk, but I'm going to cut that in half today. So 4 water, 3.5 milk, just to make a little bit more manageable batch. I'm going to start with boiling some water. So I've got a pot here that's to hold everything we're going to do. I'm going to turn the heat up, medium high, and we're going to bring that water to a boil. Meanwhile, we can prepare the spices, and so we'll do that in 2 ways. First is we'll grind the ginger, and I use this this cheese shredder, I guess it is, but I use the small serrated side here so that the ginger gets really ground down into fine particles. So we'll move these aside, and I'll start grating the ginger. Of course, you want to be careful not to get your hand caught in this. But you can see it's pretty fresh ginger, that's what we want. Now for the cinnamon and the cardamom, we're going to use this mortar and pestle. So don't really need to smash the cinnamon too much, just to break it down a little bit. And then these cardamom pods, we really want to break them down and even start to smash some of the seeds up. And so here's what it looks like with our ingredients prepared and ready to go. All right, we're now starting to get to a boil here. So I'm going to add the ingredients that we ground up here. It's important to chant the mantra at each key step. Om Namah Shivaya. Then we'll cut the heat down way low because we're going to simmer all these ingredients. For at least 5 minutes, I would say. You can see as we start to simmer, you can smell the spices and the flavor. All right, after about 5 minutes, you can really see kind of the thick juiciness of all those spices. And you can really smell it at this point. So I think we're ready for the next step. So next, we add the milk. This is one of the most important steps. We stir the milk in. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Reciting the mantra at each key step. And then we're going to turn the heat up back to medium-high heat. And this is the key step because what we're going to want to do is catch the point where the milk just starts to come to a boil. And that's the point at which we add the tea. So you don't want to go too far until it's too violent a boil, but you want to make sure that things are starting to bubble just a little. Now the tea is also very important. This is an Assam CTC tea. The CTC is pretty important. That's how it's processed. I think CTC is cut, tear, and curl. And so it's just the machinery they use to prepare the tea. But it really, you can see these are very fine pieces of tea leaves. And what that means is when we put it in the milk and the water mixture, it's going to really get soaked up very smoothly and quickly. You're going to want to do this to taste. Some people prefer a lot more caffeine, but I just, inexactly, maybe I did like 4.5 tablespoons like this. And if you want the tea stronger, you simply steep it for longer. I don't know if you hear that, but we're starting to get some kind of movement going on here. And so I don't think the surface of the milk broke just yet, but in a little bit that noise will cut down, and that's when I'll know it will just start to break into a boil. Okay, perfect. We caught it right in time. So we're going to stir the tea in. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. I'm going to cut the heat back down to low. And we're going to want to let this simmer and steep for at least 5 minutes, I would say. Now the very last step is going to be adding the sugar. This is a 1/4 cup measuring cup. And typically if I make this for other people or I make it for parties, I'll get that ratio up to a full 1/4 cup, but I try to go a little bit lighter on the sugar. You can always add the sugar later, by the way. It's the easiest thing to correct. Different types of milk are going to work differently, so you might want to play around with the ratios and get the right amount of creaminess that you're looking for. Though I should point out that you always want to use whole milk, and so the brand's less important, but this is the one I'm using right now. I like this one. And there's lots of places where you can get an Assam CTC tea, but this is the one I'm using right now. It's from Upton. Okay, that's probably strong enough for me, so I'm going to go ahead and add the last step. Here goes the sugar. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now it's best to serve straight up when you can. And so what you can do is just take a ladle and then just put that into an individual cup strainer like that. And there you have your chai ready to go. Actually, just to give you an idea, here's what it looks like strained. You can see a lot of good fresh ingredients there. And there you have it. Much thanks to Ben and to Prakash for this beautiful tradition. I hope you enjoy as well.